Hey, welcome to It Takes Two Takes. My name is Adam, and with me again is Brent, and we are going to be revisiting another classic 80s movie that is celebrating its 35th anniversary. And this one, if you weren't familiar with Wildcats, I almost understand you not knowing Wildcats, but I would be really shocked if you've never heard of this movie. And it's Highlander, starring Clancy Brown, Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery, a great cast, and an amazing soundtrack.
Excuse me. It's Sean Connery. Just okay. That's as much Sean Connery as I can do, but it's Sean Connery.
And it's got an amazing soundtrack. The soundtrack
Who was it done by?
Queen.
Who was it done by?
Queen.
There you go.
The interesting thing, though, about the soundtrack was when they released the movie, they decided not to label the music as the Highlander soundtrack. Instead, they released it as A Kind of Magic because they weren't sure how well the movie would do. So if the movie bombed, they didn't want to take the music down with it.
That is such a good idea.
Queen was such an iconic band. They're like, well, let's not hurt them if this movie, which is kind of an out there sci-fi fantasy movie, if it doesn't do well, let's not hurt them. The A Kind of Magic soundtrack has only got one song, I think, on it that isn't in Highlander, and that's One Vision, which anyone who knows 80s movies knows that was very prominent, though, around the same time in Iron Eagle. So,
which came out this year, same year.
So
there are so many iconic movies in 1986. It's amazing. I'm
just
so pumped up.
It was just one of those things where it's like, well, we got this one song that's on this other movie, and then we have this whole other soundtrack of music from this movie. We'll just throw this one extra song over here, and it's just, we'll call it A Kind of Magic. But yeah, the rest of the music is all from Highlander, and when you listen to a lot of the lyrics, you know what it is. I mean, Who Wants to Live Forever, Don't Lose Your Head, Princes of the Universe. All these songs were very much, if you listen to the lyrics, it was all about this movie. Another interesting thing about this movie is the fact that we have Christopher Lambert, who is a Frenchman, playing a Scottish person in an American film.
But Sean Connery
is Scottish, playing an Egyptian.
I thought it was different backgrounds.
He worked on the Spanish court, but he was Egyptian because it gets called out in the movie at one point. But
okay.
Yeah. So we have a Scot in this who is not playing a
Scotsman. It's a Scotsman
who's playing Ramirez, who is apparently like Egyptian who served on the Spanish court. So, I mean, they're just all over the place with this. I love this movie. I saw it in the 80s.
No, trust me, I know you do. I think probably the last time I saw this, I probably watched it with you in your family's family room. I think it was probably the last time I saw this movie.
I even watched, the Highlander TV series. Not all of it, because I started to get bored with it in the later seasons. In any case, I think we should just go ahead and get to the movie, because I'm sure there'll be lots more commentary, in fact, as we go through the movie itself. So let's go ahead and get this started.
I'm in. The iconic Queen intro.
I mean, they did two soundtrack albums, and both of them were fantastic music.
Was Flash?
Yeah, Flash and this. See, the opening is all you, though. I mean, here's some wrestling.
I'm straight up wrestling. Who we got going in? Oh, he is gorgeous.
Look at those perms.
Oh, they are not getting away with those anymore.
Absolutely not.
How had they not deleted this from the movie already? What is up with the noises? Who that?
And see, they had to shoot that where they actually had to try and get the reflection right in the sunglasses, because now they would just digitally do that. But, in 86, they actually had to all right, let me get the glasses just right and the camera just right so we can show you running away.
Yeah. For some reason, oil pans are falling off. Fire hoses are going crazy.
I love the fact that that they can make all the other stuff, but they can't give the religious guy a decent cross.
Right.
We'll just take 2 sticks, tie them together. There's her cross. We can build a castle. We can build bagpipes and make.
We can have plastic bagpipes. Number one.
Right.
Let's.
We can make shields and we can make swords, but our religious figure can't have a decent cross.
Right, and we got cages you can put people in that hang over the side of the bridge.
There's a burning cross on the top of the church. Yeah, there's a burning cross.
Where's his eyebrows? Well, that was a cheap shot.
Can't even manage to use the shield to block the sword, even on the first hit. Cut.
Oh. Hey, you see that car right there?
Yeah.
That's Brent's dream car. That is a Porsche 356. It is badass. I'm just going to trip over the evidence.
Right. Spill some coffee. There we go. More clean music.
Somehow this guy turned into Glenn Danzig. That was a very 80s thing also, I feel. Weapons you could assemble. Like, I remember, like, a lot of machine guns and guns being put together.
Well, and the concept of a sword where the blade is 2 pieces that assemble.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, there's not a release button on the blade. How do you get the top piece off after you've assembled it?
Totally wouldn't pick up any rebar in the concrete while she was doing that.
Right.
Only the specialized metal for the samurai sword.
Yeah, chunks so big that sword would look in really rough shape.
Listen, if this movie isn't going to be realistic, I don't know if I can watch it. Did he seriously just swing a rope at him?
He did.
And what kind of sword is that to make shit explode on contact?
Well, it's the same thing that was happening in the fight at the beginning, right? They'd hit the hood of a car and there'd be like huge sparks that were flying all over the place.
He learned that from Shawshank Redemption. Beating people.
Or maybe this was his interview for Shawshank Redemption.
He's like, watch me beat this new fish. I think this movie and Quicksilver like had me really put on like having a whole floor of a warehouse to myself as a home.
Apparently doesn't mind giving it up either.
Thank you for banging my head on the rock for the past 10 minutes. Get away with that joke now.
Right.
See what happens.
I cannot swim, you Spanish peacock. I'm not Spanish, I'm Egyptian. You said you were from Spain.
What? Rodriguez and
Ramirez
and all the other what?
Well, and he said his name was Juan Felipe Ramirez, so apparently he must
From
have changed
Egypt.
Yeah, I guess he changed his name while he was in Spain.
Not Guadalajara, but Egypt.
Which to be fair, you know, he's going by in modern times as Russell Nash, not Connor McLeod. So
yeah, but wouldn't you pick something from the same continent you're on? So there's Spain. So yeah, same continent.
We must fight until only one remains. You are safe only on holy ground. None of us will violate that law. It's tradition.
So what's the Holy Land?
Holy Ground, not Holy Land.
Ground, land.
Holy ground, a church, a cemetery, and he plays holy.
Ow. Ow.
It's the Kool-Aid Man.
It's Glenn Danzig.
That's the Kool-Aid Man.
Mother.
He just came crashing through like the Kool-Aid Man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, this was... I mean, even for 86, like, this was pretty bad.
I don't know about that. There was a lot of other 80s fantasy sci-fi movies that were worse than this.
This is like Conan the Barbarian level. Sinbad, like, this is that level, Adam.
Sword swings so powerful they can bring down castles. I'm out of the stairs, give way. Here's the
I'm not
dumb
gonna
thing,
lie to you,
is
Adam.
Why hasn't she run? That's what I don't get. Like, you
Yeah.
should-
Let's go check on the dude.
right. Instead of going running and finding your guy, let's just hang around.
What am I supposed to say?
Tell them I'm immortal.
This scene is from
What
the
the
director's
hell
cut.
was that?
This is from the director's cut.
Stranger danger.
So this whole scene was part of the director's cut, and it was mainly to show how him and his secretary pretty much, got to know each other.
I was gonna say I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, the little girl is his secretary, and it was a scene that was not in the theatrical cut.
Would you listen
Okay.
to me for one?
Question.
Sure.
So, like, when she got of age, even though he found her when she was like 9, you know where I'm going here.
I'm not, they imply that she's like a daughter. That's all they're implying.
Okay.
It's a New York apartment when it's got the lock all at the top of the door. as well.
At the top.
So he got all dressed up just to go over and expose her as a cop.
Yeah. And then he leaves like a 200-year-old bottle of brandy. I bet you he's like 90 now. Oh, I'm right.
Yeah, this part is just to kind of show that, he stayed with her all the way to the end, regardless of the fact that she got old.
Well, he could have did a little more maintenance around the place. That wall looked like crap.
That was a nice delay, though, on the quickening happening.
Hey, usually doesn't it just happen like, oh, he's dead?
Yeah, normally it's like, okay, as soon as they die, it starts happening. This one apparently waited a few minutes for him to kill someone else. Or stab someone else.
And how is dude not dead? He just got lifted up, thrown across, and he's just like, oh, I'm going to watch the quickening happen. Cool.
'Tis but a scratch. It's a flesh wound.
The budget for, like, moaning and, like, screaming noises had to be outrageous.
Well, just the budget
this
for
movie.
breaking stuff, Like all the windows and...
Oh! Ah!
How you doing, kid?
The wide angle shots on some of these, it's like they used a GoPro before there were ever GoPros.
Yeah.
What does incompetent mean? That may have
Heckled by a hot dog vendor.
Right?
Jesus, Rick, isn't there any heat in here?
No, he's bad for the circuits. Now, just in case there's any doubt,
Heat's bad for the circuits. He's not wrong.
They didn't have liquid cooling back then.
Right?
Sparks flying out, cups released, headhunter picture, reward offered, headhunter revealed.
What are those things that dude was selling?
Bird cage liners.
Oh, was that what they were?
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, ladies.
Clancy Brown was great in this movie. He really was.
I guarantee this guy was based off Glenn Danzig. Misfits even had a song called Halloween.
I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
As I quote Def Leppard. I don't understand what this moment's supposed to be right now.
It's supposed to be a realization of how amazing he is, so now she will fall for him.
No, I need to... Whoa. So she gets off on stabbing a dude in the stomach?
What woman doesn't get off on stabbing a dude in the stomach? I mean...
Well, in the back, I get. Like... But the stomach... That's just kind of weird...
And then you have to have
like,
your
moment to be... Like, to get all intimate is after you stab a dude in the stomach.
Well, now you have to have the sex scene. This is another scene that was in the director's cut that was not in the theatrical.
You know what's weird?
Mainly to show
Most people are afraid to
the Kurgan in the background
That's not your
stalking them.
You're afraid to live.
Probably because in the theatrical version, they never really explain how it is he found out about her. He just kind of
Take care of yourself.
all of a sudden goes and abducts her, where with this scene, they're able to actually go, oh, well, he was following, and then he saw her. That's how he knows about her.
But how does he... Right.
Because in the theatrical version, they went straight from, like, the lovemaking scene to this scene.
Well, I was just saying, like, every time they get, like, within 10 feet of each other, all of a sudden there's, like, lightning and shit.
Right. They normally are supposed to be able to feel each other's closeness, but...
He does realize if he gets in a car accident, he could be decapitated.
Apparently he
That
doesn't
seems like
think
a
about
risk
that.
I wouldn't want to take. This is pre-airbag. So he's beating his hand like this is the music that's we're listening to now is the music he's listening to in the car. I don't really feel like that matches. Especially after you just quoted Def Leppard.
This Silver Cup building is actually in Ready Player One as a reference to Highlander because of the 80s. You only see it briefly at the end of the race in the early part of the movie.
I did not know that.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't pick it up, but me being a big fan of this movie, I recognized the Silver Cup at the in the race, and it's like, oh, Highlander.
Well, guess what? I'm going to act like I always knew next time I talk about Ready Player One.
I haven't read the books, but someone told me one of the characters in the books is a big Highlander fan. So,
Highlander.
don't look down.
What happened to the ropes, man? What happened to the ropes that were tying her up?
Right. Somehow they snapped or it came untied.
Dude, at least would have, like, broken wrist, shoulders popped out of socket.
It's a movie.
Continuity, man. I'm having trouble with continuity. There's another terrible edit. They just didn't care in the 80s. I want your skull. What happened to his eyes? They were just like blue just the other second.
There can be only one.
Oh my god, that was... Man, it just doesn't hold up. Like, I remember this movie, like, being awesome.
I still enjoy it, so.
But, like, these graphics and stuff, man,
Well,
like...
no, special effects are never going to hold up after all this time. But I still like some of these actual visuals here at this point. You know, some of the drawings they're doing, I mean, some of them are fucking evil looking, and they're cool as hell.
Yeah, I mean, if you played an Iron Maiden, they were rad.
Hey, The one
But
thing
it looks like they were like.
the one thing that
Did you
doesn't
just see The Wire?
Yes,
Did you
that's
just see The Wire?
That's what I was gonna say. The one thing that doesn't hold up with HD, like once you start going into HD territory, then it's like the wires and other details that were normally not visible on the old TVs, all of a sudden become visible. Yes.
Oh.
Because I noticed that, and one time when I went to the theater and watched Airplane in the theater, I noticed some wires in that. Right? It's just.
Well, like in that, I would expect like it's a comedy. Like when he's doing like the dance scene and he's like
the wire
across the screen.
No, there was more the wires with controlling the inflatable pilot.
I'm just like you. I can love and have children, live and grow old. You never prepared me for that, you Spanish peacock.
Patience, Highlander.
So now he is mortal.
Yes.
You've done well. But it will take time.
You've
Your
done well.
generation's being born
Very
and
good.
I still enjoy
boy.
it.
No, it's like, come on. How are you not going to enjoy it? But when I was a kid, like, I felt like this was like a pinnacle. And now I look at it and it's like, man, Ghostbusters had better effects than this.
I think Ghostbusters might have had a bigger bigger budget than this probably had as well. I think it's still fun. I love the mythos on it. I love the idea. But that's one of the things when you go back and you look at any old fantasy or sci-fi film, it's so hard sometimes with the special effects. Like I'll go back and watch the 1980 or 81 Clash of the Titans, and the effects are horrible when you compare them obviously to what we're used to now. I think because
they were horrible in 1980-81.
No, actually they weren't, because of the fact that there wasn't a lot of, when it came to fantasy films, there wasn't a lot of good effects back then for fantasy films.
You're right. There wasn't Star Wars or anything.
Star Wars
like
is
that
sci-fi.
out of the time,
Star
or-
Wars was sci-fi. Sci-fi had changed, but fantasy had not. That's why a lot of the effects for most fantasy films around that time were still, a lot of it was still stop motion. A lot of it was not great green screening or anything like that. Clash of Titans had an incredible cast, including Sir Laurence Olivier, which was a great actor. And it just, the special effects when you're dealing with those type of fantasy films just wasn't there. And really Star Wars, the only reason Star Wars did what it did is because they got a bunch of new people together and reinvented special effects. And if you were part of Lucasfilm, yes, you had access to those effects readily available, but not every studio had access to Industrial Light and Magic. So yeah, some of the movies, the effects just weren't there, especially when we're talking about fantasy movies. I mean, you can go back and watch Willow, and there's a lot of effects in Willow that definitely don't hold up. This was again, they weren't sure if this was going to work or not, which is why.
How did they not know it was going to work? They had the guy from Shawshank Redemption in it.
Shawshank Redemption hadn't come out yet. This was pre-Shawshank Redemption.
They knew.
But no, I think, back then, a lot of these movies, they got one big name actor to show up, so they have somebody to throw on the posters and the trailer to try.
Which
and
was
draw
Sean
people.
Connery. That's fair.
Star Wars, the first Star Wars movie did the same thing by having Alec Guinness, who was already a well-known actor at that point. That gave the movie some credibility. It was not uncommon for science fiction or fantasy films to have, to get one famous person in there to help draw people in, and most of the other people weren't famous. Again, the budget wasn't there. But it's still a neat movie. I still enjoy it. Soundtrack is
It was a
still
great
amazing.
movie. Yeah, soundtrack is what made the movie. I mean, if I was honest, if I had to watch this movie, like never seen it, came out today, and you send me through the first 20 minutes with barely any speaking parts and like 9 flashbacks, I'm not watching this movie. Like, I don't care if Sean Connery's in it or not.
Different storytelling at the time.
or even Zack Snyder or whatever the hell his name is made this movie, I'm not watching it. I pose a question for you.
Sure.
How much of this fandom for this mediocre movie, because that's what it was mediocre in my book. It was mediocre. How much of this fandom came from Queen doing the soundtrack on it?
I don't know how much of it came from that. I mean, everyone loves Queen, but it's still, there's a lot of mythos, and it's still, I don't know that just the Queen soundtrack is what held it up through a few more movies, because they even did some movies after the TV series. One of them, Christopher Lambert even being in as well. And, you know, I think there's a lot of people who like the idea, the concept of the Highlander franchise.
Amazing concept.
I think there's a lot of missteps they've done, and that's the only reason I almost would be okay with them trying to reboot this franchise.
After rewatching this, after I don't know, probably what, 20 years, 15 years, yeah, I can see this getting rebooted. The effects being 1,000 times better. It is a great premise.
35th anniversary. It's still got a big following. There's still a lot of people who love the Highlander movie. Again, it was referenced in Ready
I'm not
Player
saying
One. It was
I will
referenced
not
in Ready
say
Player
I didn't
One.
hate it.
I think, you know, whenever you look at an older movie, there's always that grain of salt of storytelling, editing, cinematography, writing. All of that has changed so much each decade, right? So, you know, the only comparison you can really give to a movie is a lot of times in comparison to the movies that came out around the same time. As far as the technical aspect of things, when you want to talk about enjoyment, then that's obviously subjective. Some people obviously love this movie more than others, but
I enjoyed the movie. Like I did. I enjoyed the movie. I'm just saying, maybe we take some windows being blown out and thrown in some better chalk drawings in the background.
I know this won't be the last time I'll watch this movie.
Oh,
So-
it definitely won't be the last time. Not at all. I remember being so much better when I was younger. I have a feeling as we go through these 35-year anniversary movies, I'm going to be saying that a lot. Like,
and I think as we do,
I was in a
35th
lot more awe.
I think,
And like I said, like when this came out, I was 86, so I was 9 years old.
I was 10.
And it's like,
So
this was like
at 10, this was amazing, right?
Right. That's kind of how I feel. Like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to hear. I'm actually curious of the handful of people who end up watching this video, what their thoughts are on it. You know, do they have a special place in this movie? Do they love it? Does knowing that it's 35 years old make them feel really old right now? Do you think
And do you keep watching it because Queen is the soundtrack?
It's a good question, but if you just wanted the music, you could just listen to the album A Kind of Magic. So if you've got some other movies that are coming up on an anniversary, let us know, and we'll see about maybe doing one of these videos for them.
Red is coming up. Red's coming up.
That's
Red's going to be the next one we do.
I think that's more the end of the month, but yes, it will be one that's being done.
I know it's Red. It's going to be Red. I'm super pumped for this movie.
That's gonna be painful almost to watch that movie also.
For you, but like I remember this movie I remember Red on Laserdisc is how I remember.
I remember it on HBO. You know, it was played a lot on HBO in the 80s. I remember it a lot on that. So, but no, until next time, this is Adam and Brent with It Takes Two Takes. Hi, Adam here. If you like this video, go ahead and check out our other videos. And if you like this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hope to see you again real soon. Bye.